sends it to the outside. He can't get there. Kevin King is going to win the Barbizzo FTF Cup Series.
Into the lead. Bud gets wrecked in front of the pack. He saves it. 3-4 wide as they come to the white flag.
Here comes Vargas down on the apron. They are 5 wide. Ian Plash will win it at the line. Is this package? Oh, there goes Jordan Lopez Jr. That's your race leader. Caution flag is out.
Still no one willing to give up as they are going to be dead even off of the first chicane.
Oh, he saves it. What's going to happen here? Here comes the canvas. Get your foot down.
He's got it. He's got it. Get there. No.
Canvas is going to win. FTF.GG, in association with Core, welcomes you to the Core Summer Series presented by SimRapMarket.com. It's the Cody Hicken 250, live from the virtual Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. Hi, everybody. Happy summer. Welcome to the Core pre-race show. I'm Jacob Pitts. So glad to have you in for the race tonight as we make our debut. Summer kicks off to a hot start. Core is right there with you for the first time ever. It's the Core Summer Series. We return to the World Center of Racing to kick it all off. For the first time in Core's 4-year history, we do a summer series. We've done stuff in the fall, the winter, and now we head to the summer. And the fun doesn't just last for tonight. It's a 6-race, really a 7-race schedule, an exhibition race in there. And some new tracks are headed to the Core schedule. Core adds 2 new racetracks to its schedule for the summer. You'll see them over the next 2 weeks at the Rock in North Carolina and Kansas Speedway in Kansas. Core also returns some past tracks. Eldora makes its return after a 2-year absence. The Corn returns in Iowa before we wrap the season up at Michigan. Also new this season, an exhibition race. The Street Stocks head to Charlotte Motor Speedway, taking the place of the familiar All-Star race in the beloved Radical SR8s. No Radical, but it doesn't take the Radical out of the series, and the Gen 4 Cup car is what we're going to be using for much of the season. The speeds are going to be higher, the action going to be higher as well. One exception, Eldora will be using the ARCA car, lowering the horsepower just a little bit. The speed's faster than ever this season, as I mentioned, and though this season will go by in a flash, this season proves it could be a hit. However, the late return of Core in Season 5, well, that brought on an unprecedented boost in popularity for the league and for fans watching the league, and both amongst drivers and its viewers. But for one driver in particular, Core has always been about having fun. That driver going on to win the championship on a service where he has come so close so many times. Here comes Schildhaus. He's won here before. Can he do it again? On the apron, they touch. Schildhaus wins it.
The door opened up. We had a huge run coming to the tri-oval. I said, heck it. We're going to the flat. We're going under the yellow. And wouldn't you know it, we beat and bang, and I came away with the win.
David Schildhaus may have just walked himself in to a Core Season 5 championship.
And David Schildhaus is your Core Season 5 champion.
Oh my God, are you sure? This was the most memorable season of Core in Core history, the greatest championship fight this league has ever seen, and I absolutely love the Core. Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable.
We are joined now by the reigning series champion, David Schildhaus. And David, I know that, things have been able to cool off a little bit since you've won the championship back in February. Here we are, a 6-week schedule, all about fun for the summer. Are your eyes focused on the prize at the end of this deal, or are you just focused on, having fun and going race by race?
Jacob, it's great to hear your voice again. Good to be back with the Core. It's fun to have fun. That's what they say. You know, we all want to have fun. That's why we're getting together for this. But don't kid yourself. You know how we get. We do get competitive. We all want to win. We all want to win this championship. I'm here to win a championship. You know, I won last season. I want to win this season. I want to win every season. Is that Is that selfish? Am I asking too much? I don't think so.
Obviously, this schedule completely different from what we saw last year. Last year was more super speedway-esque. This time around, a little more variety in there. We've got Kansas. Iowa makes a return. What are your thoughts on the schedule? Obviously, it's going to be different because we're not going to have everybody on the same playing field like last year with familiar racetrack.
I like the variety of the schedule. It sort of reminds me of a past season where we ran a lot of different racetracks and allowed that skill gap to really spread things out. And I think that's good to go back to every now and again. I understand the appeal of what we did last season, primarily super speedways, because it is exciting. Everybody has a really good chance to win with a few other normal tracks sprinkled in there. But when I look at this season's schedule, I think that it still maintains a lot of elements of favorability to a lot of drivers. I think we'll see some surprise winners this season. I think it's going to be a hell of a championship fight as well. I don't know who all is back, but I imagine it's going to be a lot of the same players. As I look through this roster here in practice, I know this is going to be tough, and it's a short schedule, only 6 races, as you said. So you get one bad one, I don't know if you're going to have a chance at this championship. But it's a great schedule. Really looking forward to seeing a lot of these racetracks. Should put on a hell of a show.
David, best of luck, and hopefully we'll see you at the end of this deal. 2 races tonight here from Daytona, and potentially we'll be talking to you in post-race. Best of luck.
I appreciate it. I'll be putting the number 20 Flex Car Chevy up front. Riding up front. Jacob, I've let you down. I don't have my core trophy here. It did slip my mind. I apologize.
Right.
I will go get it for the inevitable interview that you'll give me later tonight.
Sounds good, David. Thank you. Daytona International Speedway, obviously the host of tonight's race to kick off, Core, and there's no trip to the beach involved, but this racetrack is about as rough as if they were running on the beach anyway. And the trip here last year, Justin Champagne brought the broom out, swept both races in 2 instant classic finishes. This is race number 1, green flag. We're racing in the Cody H Gaming 250. Cody! 39 laps. Oh, Cody around! And up, and there they go. Oh! And they're still facing through each other. That's going to be an issue. What is happening? What is happening? What is happening?
Everybody.
All right, well, and Huffman's going to kill the whole field. There they go. Landon Huffman.
I think we're going to a new session.
No. Landon Huffman just took over the league and said, the heck with you. We're resetting the session because this is too stupid. 80 laps on the board. Sean Butler, David Schildhouse lead us down. We'll try it again. Green flag in the Cody Gates Gaming 250 from Daytona. Oh, the core and everybody is dancing around, and there they go. Huffman in the fence, back down into Jordan Worth. Caution's out. Oh, Travis up in the air and over. Oh my gosh, Travis Brown flipping like crazy down the front straightaway. Brayton Laster's in it. And Travis Brown goes for a horrific ride.
Oh, Cisco just lost it.
Up in the wall, keeps it up there. He does not have a meatball flag yet. He's not going to be able to bring it to pit road. He's still off the pace, and Keenan drop kicks him. Suspension is broken on the right front. Right at the tail of this 3-wide pack. Oh, Sean up into the wall. There goes Schildhouse around. Into Cosman. Vervink did it. They almost save it. Now Rawgator around. Malillo is in this. They still keep piling in Travis. Vargas in the middle. Champagne up high. Tiller down low. Looks to the bottom to try and block. They're going to push him all the way to the line. 3-wide photo finish at the line. Give it to Justin Champagne. Justin Champagne steals it. They wreck. They're already under caution, and the field flying apart in turn 1. There's no way.
McCandless isn't giving him room.
They're bleeding on each other.
How are they saving it? Vargas is in the wall. Huffman.
And there goes Huffman.
Oh,
hard into Schildhouse. There's the big one. Everybody piles it on up.
Great Lester.
Oh, Oh, there we go. Oh, Butler gets turned into McCandless. More trouble. Plash. Everybody piles up. Stone whipsaws around through the grass. And 20 cars are jumped in the apron of turn number 3. Not clear. Here they come. Remember, the yellow line is in play. Here comes Malillo down to the bottom with a push from Ryan Burton. Champagne sweeps. Justin Champagne sweeps. And the whole field piles it up at the start-finish line. Justin Champagne, in a new format for Core, sweeps both races at Daytona. The driver with the best average finish on the plate track since Core shifted to iRacing, none other than the man we just talked to, David Schildhouse, an average finish of 6.4. For the drivers that have made all 10 starts at the plate tracks, Justin Champagne, an average finish of 8.6 between Daytona and Talladega. You don't have to look it up, because we already did. Drivers are ready, fans, hopefully you're ready. The only question now, are the commentators ready? James Pike and Caleb Kaufman take you the rest of the way through race number 1. I'll be back for highlights at the end of race number 1. In the meantime, the Cody H Gaming 250 is next, live on FTF.gg. Green flag, we're racing. Green flag, we're racing.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the season opener for the Core Summer Series presented by SimRat Market. The Cody Hicken, aka that guy you might have seen at a dirt track once, 250 live from the virtual Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. James Pike here alongside Caleb Hoffman to bring you all the action from this evening's racing at the World Center of Racing. Should be an incredibly fun night, and we're racing in summer in the Core, Caleb. That in and of itself should steal all the headlines.
Yeah, absolutely. This series being put together, first time that the Core has ever done this, where we've gone racing in the middle of the season. It's going to be so much fun. This group is really coagulated together quite nicely. Lots of familiar faces. Only one rookie who is not appearing in tonight's show, but will join us throughout the season. And everybody else is just ready to go here. And it's been so much excitement and so much hype leading up to this first race.
We have a special treat for all of you watching wherever you may be for this season opener. We are going wide open at Daytona International Speedway to start off the Core Summer Series. We've got wide open coverage for you presented by our partners, starting with Cody Hicken, Soundhead Entertainment, Alpha Prime Racing, Layar Guest Security, MAT Liveries, Gabe Wood, he paid for this, Brayton Laster, he rocks and he likes pizza, Eric Messer Photography, Splash and Go Graphics, and of course, SimRapMarket.com. And to the grid, where we present the first of what will be many Eric Messer Photography Pole Awards, the proud partner of the Core Summer Series, and presented to the driver who ranks the lowest in the point standings in each Core League event. This week, the honor is given to Corey Vervinkt, who is the lowest returning driver in the point standings from Season 5, so he gets the honor. And every week, Eric Messer Photography will award a driver in Core with their very own Eric Messer Photography Pole Award. And driver with the most Eric Messer Photography Pole Awards at the end of the season will get a trophy for their hard work and dedication to the Core League. Eric Messer Photography, the official photographer of my home track, the Madhouse Bowman Gray Stadium, and the Core Summer Series presented by SimRat Market. Now to the grid, brought to you by Alpha Prime Racing. You can see some of our top starters already on the screen. Caleb Hoffman, lots of action amongst these first 6 rows. Justin Malillo and Ryan Vargas in the mix, and then Joey Stone and Michael Cozy Jr. round out the top 10.
Yeah, quickly going through, we got Wes Graham, another returning face, starting off row number 6. Alongside him is going to be Travis Brown, Moonhead in the 01, Cosmonio Netshoe in 13th, Chase Cabry in the 14th position, Harry Tiller going to be rolling off in the 15th position, Blake McCandless alongside him in 16th, Drive-Through in the 17th position, Sean Butler alongside him in 18th, and then rounding out your top 20, Michael P. Frisch and Champagne Racing.
Gary Owen Goen starting 21st, Brian LaPrade, and the defending champion of Core, David Schildhouse, starts 23rd on the grid as we now bring you the Track Facts here to take you a little bit and teach you a little bit more about Daytona International Speedway. Caleb Hoffman, what is on tap for these drivers this evening?
Yeah, I mean, this is Daytona. As you said, the World Center racing 31-degree turns, 18-degree banking in the tri-oval. It's a 2.5-mile super speedway. These guys in the big power Gen 4 cars tonight still going to be restricted, but speeds, whereas they were 180 for all the previous iRacing events, it's going to be almost up near 200 miles per hour here tonight. These guys are going to be flying around the Daytona International Speedway, especially with how scorching it is. This track surface super bumpy. Track surface is 87 degrees right now, so it's going to be slippery, slider, and the tires rather are going to matter so much here tonight.
And remember, this is the legacy version of Daytona International Speedway, so the bumpy, not repaved version, as Caleb mentioned. Here's our race analysis for tonight's Cody Aiken 250. We'll do 2 races, 40 laps each, for a total distance of 200 miles, 321.6 kilometers. Your pit road speed, 55 miles an hour, and your pit window, 26 to 30 laps. So you will have to come down pit road at least once before we get things going. To the weather before we go green flag racing. It's the default day for iRacing, May 15, 2023 in sim, right after 10 a.m. in the morning. Your air temp 70 degrees Fahrenheit, no humidity in the skies, no moisture to deal with, winds to the north at 2 miles an hour, partly cloudy forecast, 87 degree Fahrenheit track temp, as one Caleb Hoffman said. We are almost set for the very first summer green flag in the history of the Core League. The Core Summer Series presented by SimRat Market kicks off tonight as Corey Vervinkt will lead us to the green in his smart car. The pace car will make that hard left-hand turn onto pit road. The green flag unfurled from Barney the Flagman, and the Core Summer Series presented by SimRat Market is underway. The Cody Hicken 250 at Daytona is green. One lap complete, and Caleb, we can already see that high side beginning to make moves. Justin Malillo jumps right up to the front, and now here comes Fly Guy underneath him in that classic, the house paint scheme in the custom paint shop from NASCAR Thunder 2003 to take the lead. And now Ryan Vargas making moves to the middle with help from Champagne Racing.
Yeah, part of what makes this format so much fun is everybody in the back that's higher in points just has to work their way up through the field, and that's what you see right now. Big move from Champagne on Vargas right there, 3 wide for the lead. Oh, and there's going to be a little bit of contact between Malillo and Vargas, and Fly Guy's going to get turned.
Trouble in the back, caution out on lap 2. I saw about 3 or 4 cars go around, but that started with the contact between Vargas and Champagne, and then just carried on like an accordion through the back of the field. Multiple cars involved as we slow for the first time here at Daytona in the Cody Hicken 250 on lap 2 of 40 in race 1.
And we had a few precursors for that. Everybody really aggressive trying to get up to the front of the pack. We're going to see a replay right here, and you're going to see Justin Champagne right here. And Vargas and Melillo make a little bit of contact after Champagne goes 3 wide, and then you see that secondary accident in the back involving quite a few guys. Dylan Kim, Brian LaPrade was in that as well. Some alternate angles here. I don't know. Lap 3 of 40 here, Pike. Do you think that's just too aggressive early on, or just trying to get settled in and things went wrong?
I'm going to go with option C, which is just not being used to Daytona in the Gen 4 cars. That's, I think, the hardest thing, and especially when you consider that, like we said, this is old Daytona, legacy Daytona, so it's bumpy, and the rear of the car bounced around on the old pavement at Daytona, especially right around the time that these cars were used in real life. You think back to 2006, 7, 8, 9, that area. And you could go back and watch the onboard cameras, and you see how bumpy a ride around Daytona International Speedway used to be. And I think that's something that these drivers, when you add the extra horsepower of the Gen 4 car compared to the ARCA version of this car, that's something that I think a lot of these drivers have to get used to. And so I think that's really more than anything else what it is. It's you aren't going to be able to just sail it off into the corner because you have so much torque. And much like we see in the 1987 cars on iRacing here, you may have to lift a little bit, especially if you're in the draft behind somebody, in order to make sure that you make the corner and don't end up wrecking like we just saw.
And another note with the big horsepower, not only is the handling a factor, but you got to think closing speeds are going to be so much faster when you have an extra 15 to 25 mile per hour to work with down these straightaways. Again, last year, top speed here was about 185, 186, somewhere in there with the draft and in the pack, and now we're going to see speeds that are well past 195, almost up to 201, 202 miles per hour.
Maybe not quite approaching 87 speeds, but very much in that same ballpark. And I think some of the same principles apply. I know with the 87s in particular, you almost have to wait until the sidewalls of the tires flex before you really have your optimal amount of grip in the corners. I think to some degree we're going to see that with these Gen 4 cars as well. I don't think the need to have the sidewalls flexes as pronounced, but again, same sort of idea that you're working with. And then the torque as well. You're really going to have to be mindful of the torque. I think we're going to hammer that point home again and again and again and again, both in this race and in the second race of our doubleheader coming up.
Absolutely, and for those not familiar with the core format, not only do we have this 40-lap race, but we will invert everybody after this race in the reverse order of where they finished and re-rack them and go for 40 more laps. So lots of racing in store for us tonight. We're only here on lap 4.
80 total laps, and then if we have any overtimes, we have unlimited overtime. So who knows what the total lap count is going to be at the end of the night, Caleb Hoffman. But this is going to be a lot of fun. It's plate racing, it's core, it's the Gen 4 car, the one that got created on accident and then became such a beloved machine in the iRacing community that iRacing decided to let it stick around, and now in the hands of these drivers of the core league that have experience with this particular chassis, but maybe not necessarily this kind of power, and especially at this place as you see the drivers lining up by the makeshift choose cone, the pit exit coming out of turn 2. Drivers dipping to the inside will start there on the bottom. Drivers going to the outside will start up top as we'll get the green flag back out in this first race, the doubleheader for the Cody Hicken 250 on lap 6 of 40.
Another thing to look out for on this run, Champagne and Vargas make a little bit of contact just messing around here under caution. But your biggest movers so far this race, Justin Champagne in second, up 18 spots, and then right behind him in third, Michael P. Frisch up 16 since the start of this race. So those two have been on an absolute tear. And if you remember back to last year, Justin Champagne not only swept the first 2 races, but the first 2 weekends, of course. So he wants to get back where he left off last year and hopefully return to form here.
Have to believe that a lot of these drivers will want to try and follow Mr. Champagne Racing maybe learn a thing from him on these plate tracks. As we go back to green flag racing, Vargas and Justin on the gas up front. Then Fly Guy and Sean Butler. We know about his prowess on the tracks. He'll take it 3 wide to try and dump Fly Guy in the middle. And here comes Cosman working that mid lane. He's got a choice to make, and he'll settle into that second groove. So leave it to Butler and company. Michael Cozy Jr. behind him up top.
Yeah, and on that initial restart, it was Blake McCandless who really got that outside lane rolling. He jumped up, and then everybody seemed to follow in front of him. And now we have a similar thing going on with Sean Butler, Michael Cozy Jr. on this outside. They are coming with a run. They're going to be to the outside of Frisch and Vargas. 3 wide for the lead. Can Sean Butler or Michael Cozy Jr. come up here and spoil this party?
Can they make it 3 wide this time through 3 and 4 and not bounce into each other? Are these drivers going to settle enough to be able to get some green flag laps in and get a feel for what it's like to run under green flag conditions? Yep, I saw it too. Looks like that's Moonhead. That was one of them, and Rusty Walrus the other that went around.
Yeah, Travis had a huge run there and again, just lifted Rusty's back tires off the ground and turned him around. No caution, though, for it. We stay green.
So Vargas in control now. Here comes drive through himself. Evan Cornelius beginning to make moves. He's now up into the top 5 for the first time tonight. Michael P. Frisch, who has done just about everything you can think of on the oval side of iRacing and then some, heralding the middle groove. Butler still working up top. You got Blake McCandless there, along with Michael Cozy Jr. Those 3 leading that outside line through the middle of 3 and 4.
And I think something you have to watch for sure is this inside line. It is so easy trying to stay on the inside here with these bumps to get knocked up back into the pack, and we've seen it a few times, and Fly Guy had a very close call through turns 3 and 4 the last time, and Cozy's going to tag the wall. A little bit of contact. Can they save it?
Somehow, some way they backed out of it. I'm not sure how they pulled it off. The Champagne and Cozy bounced off of each other in the middle of the corner. They checked up. That broke up that first pack. So now it's about maybe call it 5-6 cars here as Joey Stone will have a big run through the middle, and he may join the leaders here as Frisch controls the middle still, and it's Vargas with help from Cornelius down on the inside.
Yeah, Vargas and DT down on the inside, all alone right now, and you got to wonder if this second pack of sorts is going to get regrouped back up. You see Justin Malillo all alone on the outside, the Season 4 winner here at Daytona. And Cozy and Cosman behind him. They are chugging along. Cosman's actually going to tag the wall just a little bit, and that's going to allow everybody to get settled back in a line. But I don't know if Justin Malillo and Joey Stone really want to take that route.
And I'm beginning to wonder, as I look at these drivers bouncing between lanes, making all these moves, I have a hunch there are a few people that are just sitting in the back and saying, you know what, I'd rather just wait this out and not go crazy as Malillo got a bump there from
and there
Cozy.
Cozy gets turned.
Cozy got turned. That started with a contact between Malillo and Cozy and just carried on, and eventually 5 or 6 cars, and then Sean Butler ends up in the fence just ahead of him. I don't know if we can get a replay on that, but Butler made contact with someone.
Oh, and they're going to spin again. Cozy and Vervink back up into the track, narrowly missing that was Cosman. McCandless got tagged as well.
Blake just somehow barely made it through that, but there were 2 separate incidents. You had the Cozy wreck that we saw start when he and Malillo got together in 3, and then Sean Butler makes contact with someone after they were slowing down under turn 4. I think Cornelius got up into him, and Joey Stone was the unfortunate party trapped along the wall, so he got damaged in this as well. You see the bump there. Cosman and Cozy get into it. That checks up about 5 or 6 cars, and then they slide down to the inside, and you can see a few more people. That's Case Kallenbach, I believe, dancing through the grass to try and make it. But again, there was also the incident here. As you get a good look back there, you've got the Sean Butler incident that happens just up the racetrack. We'll see the aftermath of it here. You can see them sort of scattered right by the pit road entrance. So, and then this contact here with Cozy that sent Brayton Laster all over the place. Blake McCandless, I think, just clipped Cozy and somehow made it through. That's shall we call it slalom driving? But when you consider you got some fast repairs to work with here, so it won't necessarily kill you. But worth noting here is we'll get a good look at what happened between Butler and drive-through and Joey Stone on the exit of 4. Drive-through comes up, DT up into Butler and then up into Stone. All 3 of them pick up damage there after the yellow had flown.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate there. I think Joey Stone got the worst of that. And his Season 5 didn't really go to plan, and I know he was super excited to get back in here and try to right some wrongs that happened last season for him, right the ship, and not off to a great start. But as you said, still have that fast repair to work with, and I think it's a nice balance here in core. You get that fast repair to play with, so if you do get involved in a wreck, you can go back out there without losing so much time. But it's not, just go out and wreck every 2 laps and get an unlimited fast repair type things. It's still a nice balance that you have to find, and adds a nice element of strategy into this league.
We talked about that a lot. There are a lot of leagues that feature the one fast repair as a piece of the equation and as another wrinkle in strategy, as you just talked about. And for what it's worth, coming off pit road here, as we work lap 11 and 40, I can tell you that Chase Cabry has used his, as has Briar LaPrade, Goen, Cosman, Cozy, Corey Vervinkt. The 5 or 6 by my count. I'm not a mathlete here, you know this, Caleb. But yeah, I hopefully they teach you how to math better in Nashville. I would think they're probably.
Well, I don't think anybody in the FTF booth really is the greatest at math. We've kind of coined the FTF math term, so hopefully we'll get to display that throughout this season. Looking through right now, another guy that has caught my eye here, just avoiding wrecks and being quiet about it. So far, running right now, P4 is David Schildhouse. Remember, he started the very tail of the field, was the caboose coming to the green flag. Lap 12, and he's already made his way up into the top 5, albeit with some help from a few wrecks along the way.
A few, but there's something to be said about making your way from 23rd on the grid to 4th and still having a fast repair a quarter of the way through this first race. Lots of things playing in Schildhouse's favor, and another one of these drivers that we don't need to explain his exploits here in core, how he's been so successful in this series, defending champion, plenty of wins as they get set to choose for the restart coming up here on lap 13. When it comes to experience and success, you will be hard pressed to find a better driver in this field than the one who works for Alpha Prime Racing in real life, David Schildhouse. He will restart, I believe, on the outside of row 2 when we get back going on lap 13 of 40.
Another thing that's so fun is the points format here. It always gives us some close finishes. Last year we had 5 championship eligible drivers going into the final race, and it's all about consistency, and there's nobody that's going to be more consistent than David Schildhouse. He really knows how to put all of his races together and compete for wins at the same time. So you'll definitely see that on display tonight. Again, already worked his way up to P4.
He is there. Vargas and Frisch are the ones that will get us going again here in the Cody Hicken 250. Off goes the pace truck. Vargas back on the gas pedal. Green flag back out at Daytona. A good restart for Frisch, who will ease ahead of Vargas by just a little bit. And he'll have help from drive-through. Schildhouse, Melillo is there. Going, Cosman all in the mix in the top 10 as the field thunders back to turn 1.
You see Champagne's trying to get that outside lane going, just as Blake McCandless did on that initial start. Will anybody go with him? We saw Justin Melillo was one of the guys that really wanted to use that outside lane with help from Cozy, and he will, out of turn 2 right here, hop up to that outside lane, and they got to run. Can they get to the outside of the leaders here going into turn number 3?
Melillo's there. Champagne is there. He's got a little bit of help further back as well as these drivers continue to move at over 190 miles an hour through the corners here at Daytona. We thought Harry Tiller might jump up to that top line for a moment, and then he thought better of it. So it's just Champagne and Melillo in the outside lane for a moment. That middle lane, though, has lots of power with Vargas, Schildhouse, and then right at the back, that third car in line, that's Wes the Mess, Wes Graham in there too.
Another thing that's so fun about bumpy Daytona, again, that inside lane is so bumpy that it tends to throw you up the track into the middle lane. So everybody here on the middle, they get a nice mixture of being that shorter way around the racetrack, but you don't quite have the bumps to throw you around and make that car as unstable as it is on the inside.
Continuing to work the middle is Ryan Vargas, and we've seen a lot of drivers have success on plate tracks in the middle of the racetrack, regardless of whether or not it's Old Daytona, New Daytona, or Talladega. I think most prominently some 3 years ago is Champagne's going to get the fence. Oh, and there goes Sean Butler, and there goes Dylan Kim, and they smack the fence. Kim spins around. Yellow flag number 3 is out here at Daytona.
And that's just another result of being stacked up here. That's going to be tough for Champagne and Butler. Dylan Kim got turned around in that as well. We'll get a look at it here.
Champagne bounced off the fence to start that, I believe. We'll get a good look here at the replay, but you can see, yeah, just at the bottom of your screen, he bounces off the fence. Butler runs into him with no room to check up, and then Kim had nowhere to go either. And Kim absolutely gets the worst of it. That Bill Elliott throwback to the beginning of the second return of Dodge. I don't know how you want to put it. It feels like, but back to the throwback to the original Evernham Motorsports scheme, which put Bill Elliott back in the 9. There's the contact from Champagne. Butler with nowhere to go. Kim in the fence. Everybody in the back did a really nice job to avoid those cars and keep it down to a 3-car incident, but a yellow flag again at Daytona.
And looking at Dylan Kim, he's still got that fast repair in his pocket. Still okay for right now. You saw again that was all just Justin Champagne. And again, it's super hard here at bumpy Daytona. These bumps will throw you around. You'll get tossed in the wall. You'll get tossed into other drivers. It's not your typical super speedway race here. It really is a mixture of racing this pack around you that forms and racing the actual racetrack itself. And racing the racetrack at this particular version of Daytona is a challenge in itself.
Yeah, really, really tough. I think with the new version of Daytona, you're able to race the pack more because you don't have to worry about keeping your car in one piece. But there's almost a road course element to this, as a lot of the field is going to come down pit road, but Justin Malillo decides to stay out, and I believe Harry Tiller will go with him. And one more, a little bit further back, deciding to hang out on the racetrack, Briar LaPrade. So opportunities here for strategy, perhaps. We'll see how things go and whether or not people are good to go to the end. I think most everybody's come down for fuel, but with this bumpy version of Daytona, you're racing the track as much as you are the drivers around you. It's almost like a road course in that sense, where the bumps are so pronounced that you have to be mindful of where your car settles when the rear end comes back down to make sure that you don't get loose and spin out and take somebody else out of this race.
Absolutely, and again, when you are racing this racetrack, it's not like a repaved version of Daytona where you're just going to hold the steering wheel left. You really have to, grind and go back and forth with it, drive the track, and what those bumps are telling you. And we're going to be talking here with Sean Butler, who was involved in that last accident. Sean, talk us through what happened with you and Champagne there.
The last 2 accidents, Caleb. Jeez. I was sitting there on the outside just going to help Champagne, and then he just nudged himself into the wall and then just stopped in front of me, and I ran him over, and everyone thinks it's my fault apparently in our channel down there. So I don't know. I'm just public enemy number 1 tonight. Getting a good start to the summer season for sure.
We get our first sorry Sean for you.
Oh, there's been numerous. So if you're behind the 8 ball on that one, there's been a few of them.
Yeah, how is this extra horsepower really changing the dynamic of this race? We have a similar group to what we've been racing the past few seasons. The track is the same. The only changing variable here really has been the car.
Well, I mean, it's still kind of the same arrow because as you guys can see, we just kind of get log jammed up and it's very hard to do anything. But I mean, it's still fun. You just got to pick your spots, and it just causes a lot of calamity, as you'll see on this restart here. There they go by me, by the way. But it's just crazy, especially this track, all the bumps and everything. It's very violent, so you gotta be careful when you try to make moves.
Absolutely. Well, we'll let you get back to it. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks, guys.
That's Sean Butler. He'll try to get the ship righted so far.
23 laps left of the scheduled distance in this first race here for the Cody Hicken 250 season opener for the Core Summer Series, presented by Sim Wrap Market in 2023, live from the legacy version of Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. James Pike, Caleb Huffman bringing you all the action from the virtual World Center of Racing. Justin Malillo in front of this field. Harry Tiller, first car on the outside lane, and Briar LaPrade. You couldn't miss a car that pink. He's already made his way up to third.
Yeah, fairly iconic scheme for him already in this league. Newly renumbered to the 19 after running the one car last year and coming just short in the championship battle. He and David Schildhaus were the main two contenders going into the final race. And I know he wants redemption more than most out here because the past 2 seasons he's been in a very similar predicament where he just can't close it out after being the favorite throughout most of the season. So he's going to be one guy to definitely watch throughout the course of this season.
Tiller now, the first time we've seen him with that kind of momentum up top. And some Travis Brown guy who I think knows a little bit about racing on restrictor plate tracks. He's made his way up to the front for the first time this evening, currently scored in the 5th position. He's the 3rd car on the outside line behind Vargas and Tiller.
And I think right now you're seeing a little bit of restraint from these drivers. This is the first time today where we haven't seen them go 3 wide throughout most of this pack. They're kind of sticking to this double file formation. Really don't want to get anybody else or themselves into too much trouble here. So I think we're just going to see these guys ride around. And as soon as I say that, though, Justin Champagne going to hop up to that 3rd lane. He's going to think better of it, though, and stick back down behind Cosmin Ionescu.
I have a feeling we may not see that 3rd lane come back for a while. I think these drivers might want to try and click off a few laps before we get that back. But this is core. We will see 3 wide racing at some point
Yes.
between lap 35 and 40, and we may end up seeing more racing beyond lap 40 if we get 3 lanes. We'll see how it all pans out. But for now, still that logjam 2x2 first, though, trying to work the outside lane, and Champagne up there too. And now here comes Cosman to try and duck up high. He thought about it, then thought better of it, then thinks of it again, and this time he'll commit to try and go high on Travis Brown and become the 3rd car in that outside lane. And look at that, there goes Vargas to the top, and they will leave Tiller in the middle. And don't ever take anything that I say without a grain of salt, because here we are in 1 lap after I said I didn't think they were going to go 3 wide. They're 3 wide all over again. What do I know, Caleb?
Well, absolutely. I think the momentum is just too much on that high side. These drivers just didn't want to leave it on the racetrack, just crossing halfway. And you see, Cosman big wiggle up on the high side. Still 3 wide for the lead here. And as you heard Sean talking about earlier, they do have a tendency here to get log jammed. And all it takes is 1 bump, though. You saw DT get sideways there, and all that entire inside lane, Melillo and going behind him, all of them lost the momentum that they had, and now we are in double file formation. Brian LaPrade going to go back and block the inside. Here comes Tiller up the middle, though.
Inside line has so much momentum entering corners. Outside line gets it back on the straights, and there's much more of a rubber band effect than even I anticipated, I think, so far as that is concerned. So that's something I think we'll want to keep our eye on as we come back towards the end of this race. You can get out in front. You'll see it here. Breyer's able to pull at least a half a car length, if not more, on Tiller just by running that bottom, but you can just stand on the throttle on corner exit if you're in the middle or up high, and that's where the car is up there with Tiller and Vargas and everybody get the momentum right back.
And another big change here that I've noticed so far, just 22 laps into this first race here, is the closing rate's been the biggest thing that surprised me. And I knew extra horsepower was going to provide us with a faster closing rate, but last year it took maybe half a straightaway or so to get a run on somebody. But here, I mean, it's almost at will that you can get runs and just go places with it. And you see now Moonhead up the middle trying to take the lead here. He's got Vargas on his outside and Harry Tiller now to his inside. They're still 3 wide here. Just tons of fun racing going on up front here.
Travis, they're sitting. Vargas up there. Cosman now beginning to creep up towards the front. He's sat around 10th for most of this night as Tiller's going to drop back. He's going to fall out of this, and I wonder if he thinks that it may be a little bit more chaotic than he would like if he's going to race up near the front. So he'll send Tiller all the way back. He has not used his fast repair for what it's worth. So if he gets caught up in an incident between now and the end of this race, he can go down pit road and use it. And that is something I think we'll want to be very, very, very particular about. We'll want to watch that closely as we get towards the end of this race. Briar LaPrade and Cosman are the 2 that have used up their fast repair so far within the top 10.
Yeah, going to have to be very cognizant about those fast repairs and who still has them. And I think you saw from Harry Tiller right there, he just wasn't scared of dropping back again, because I think he believes in himself to go get it back at some point. It's not like prior version Daytona. Here comes Vargas, going to get turned, and now drive-thru's going to get turned once again. Cosman's in it. Cozy does a good job to avoid it. Champagne did a great job to avoid it. Wes Graham comes over the radio and claims fault for it, but big damage on the drive-thru machine. That motor is absolutely blown. He's going to have to use a faster pair to keep going there. We'll get a replay here, but you saw that was just a stack-up effect after Vargas got tagged on the outside.
Going back and looking at the replay, it's hard for me to tell. I'm trying to watch it myself, and I can't tell if Cosman got into... Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of contact between Cosman and Vargas, and then, again, chain reaction that ends with Cornelius going way up into the fence. Vargas got a piece of it, too, as did Cosman, but I think initially that starts with Cosman bouncing off. Yeah, because Wes decided to try and go low to avoid a Vargas machine that he thought was going to spin down towards the middle of the racetrack, and in the process of trying to avoid Vargas, he hits Davin. Davin goes up into the wall.
And again, just a big stack-up effect. We'll get an alternate look at it here. On board with the drive-thru machine. See the Big Fan Esports on the hood. All happens to his outside. Big hit for that number 77.
Gonna need a big fan from his friends at Big Fan Esports to clear out all the smoke. That motor is huffing and puffing, and yes, that's a... I think a lot of drivers would want to say they're faster pair, but this is a case where you have no choice but to use your faster pair. So it'd be interesting to see how DT decides to manage the last 13 laps or so of this race, knowing that he does not have a margin for error anymore.
Definitely throws a wrench into things if you have a wreck with 5 or 10 laps to go, something like that. You don't have that faster pair in your back pocket. While he is getting repaired on pit road, we're going to talk to the drive-thru Big Fan Esports machine. Drive-thru, what happened there for you, man?
You got to tell me. I just got hooked.
Yeah, it looked like a stack up on the outside. You hit hard. You feeling okay inside that thing?
Yeah, motor went, but we just pulled a new one out of the truck, so got that swapped in. We're all good now.
How are you? How does this change things for you? 14 laps to go. You don't really have that faster pair to fall back on. Do you think you're going to ride up inside that lead pack, or you just want to ride around in case a big wreck hits us?
Yeah, I don't know. There's been more wrecks than I thought we'd see here, but I think it's worth just sending it. The bottom's been pretty safe all race. Unfortunately, I got hooked there, but... Did y'all see what the hell happened between Harry and Rusty there? Under caution? We might want to go back, because Harry and Rusty wrecked under caution there on that first yellow flag lap, and I don't know, I'd like to just see what the hell happened, because I have no idea. I just saw them wreck.
Oh, we did. We had a big hit. Oh, we got one car airborne in that wreck. Hold on, Zach. We need a replay of this pronto. League admin drive-thru's on it.
Just want to make sure y'all get everything, It's just now.
Lap 26, yes. Yeah, it looked like it was Rusty Walrus. Everybody was just slowing down here to get back under pacing, and I'm not sure what happened. We'll work on that replay for you, but... Thanks, DT, for taking the time to talk with us, and good luck for the rest of this thing.
Yeah, no problem.
That is the drive-thru machine. Yeah, so you see Rusty right here, and Harry is slowing down up ahead of him. And some pretty big contact here. Gonna be, I believe, yeah, right here. Gets up in the airborne, and big hit for not only Rusty but Harry as well, getting those rear tires off the ground. And Rusty again. Gonna try to talk with him before we get green. Rusty, you have like 5 seconds to tell me what happened under that caution with Harry.
Ask Harry, bro. I don't know. I'm just out here minding my...
Running around having fun. We'll let you go real fast for this restart. I just wanted to talk to you real fast because that was embarrassing for you, bud.
I know.
Green flag here. You see Travis on the outside, David Schildhouse on the inside. Once again, this outside lane trying to get going, led by Justin Champagne. 12 laps to go, and the urgency is really starting to pick up here at Daytona, and you can see no apprehension whatsoever to get this third line going. Huge run on the outside at Champagne, Blake McCandless, Brian LaPrade. All of them on the outside, and oh, big push from LaPrade to McCandless. Gets him sideways. They're going to keep it together. And now Travis wants that lead back from Justin. Big block from the 38 didn't quite work. Schildhouse coming back down on the inside.
Power from the middle and the inside in the quarters. Again, perfect example of what we talked about throughout this first race. We saw the outside lane get that huge run down the back straightaway and then immediately just get completely gobbled up as the inside lane continued to push through the middle of 3 and 4. That will make things interesting at the end as they continue to bounce and bobble and weave around this Daytona International Speedway. It is about even for a split second. Champagne will have his car ahead by about 3/4 of a car length going into the corner, but again, Brown will bring it right back, as will David Schildhouse on that inside. Look at Case Kallenbach down on the bottom. We barely talked about him all night, and here he is in the top 5 entering 10 laps to go.
Still 3 wide here, and they're going to have to hold this formation until the end of the race at this point, I would think. I don't think that anybody's going to be backing down at this point. You heard Drive-Thru say it's just going to be full send for him on this point on. I think Vargas tagged the wall a little bit. He's going to fall back down into the middle line, and once again, this outside lane, their run dying down just a bit, but now here they come down the backstretch, full power.
Continuing to shuffle here. Oh, contact! There goes Kallenbach, and there comes the yellow flag. Butler into the fence. Another car hard into the wall. I think that's Wes Graham that got it. Trouble left, right, and center here at Daytona.
And again, this 3-wide racing is proven to be something. It was a little bit of contact between Kallenbach and Goen. David Schildhouse, again, so he tried to make a move to the inside of Travis. We'll get a replay here for you. And you'll see Schildhouse makes a move down to the inside. He has to back out of it real quick. That stacks up everybody, and Goen just doesn't react quite fast enough. That causes Kallenbach to get turned around. Sean gets sent through the grass. Everybody really does a nice job to not make any significant contact. We had, about 3 or 4 spinners, but no real big contact in that besides Kallenbach and Sean there, and then Malillo getting tagged with Vargas.
I love what Sean just put in Sim Chat, just the general parentheses, intense rock music. So what do you want? Do you want Through the Fire and Flames? Do you want the intro to One?
Yeah, I think some solid Metallica right now would really sum up how chaotic.
Do you want Van Halen's Right Now? Do you want Piano? Perhaps, maybe.
Ooh, some Van Halen there. Some of their later stuff I feel like would go perfect for this right now. I got cars on pit road. I'm wondering if we're seeing any more fast repairs with only 8 laps to go.
It's about that. It's about that time, and it's tough. I don't envy the drivers that are coming down pit road now, because if I'm in that position, it's really difficult to decide whether or not you use that now or later. Most of them look like are leaning on the side of let's go ahead and burn it, but we also, there's a high probability, I think, of at least one green white check.
I would agree. I think it's a general consensus around the field right now. There is, again, very little restraint in this field right now. Everybody is really full send. It's the first race back. Everybody wants to get out here and start the season off strong with a win. We'll see if that changes in the second race here, if we see everybody a little more settled down, a little more calm. But right now, everybody really has just been full send the whole time. It's been a lot of fun to watch, but it gets really risky because you get 3 wide here and bumps throw you the wrong way. I liked how Sean described it earlier, where he just said that the track was violent. And that's really, I think, a great way to describe the racing that we've seen tonight. It has been very violent around the entire field as a whole.
Also, continuing the theme of music, we've got our good friend Keenan Kusin Arrow in chat. And he suggested maybe Freebird, perhaps, as the song. Also said he thinks 2 more yellows for this race. So that'll, I guess, can we set that as our over-under, perhaps?
I would be down for that. 2 more yellows. I'm gonna guess just the one. I think we get to about 2 to go, and then that's when we see another wreck. If I had to put in an official prediction, but big Arrow fan, miss him racing with us. Hope he can return soon. And see right now, Justin Champagne, Michael P. Frisch, Travis Brown, all these guys up at the front. I know all of them are super hungry for a win. McCandless, Cozy here as well. Look at 5th and 6th. We got 2 former champions here. The Season 4 champion, Michael Cozy Jr., and then David Schildhaus, the defending champion right there.
Perfect sense. So we'll set the over-under at 2. Chat, go ahead and punch in your predictions as to how many more yellows we have in this first race. Also, read the music thing. I feel like an idiot because I skipped past the very obvious choice of Tom Petty, who is originally from not too far away from Daytona, Gainesville, Florida, his hometown. So we probably should use some of the heartbreakers here, I would think, yeah?
Fair for sure. You see everybody is chosen here. And Pike, one thing that we have not mentioned yet tonight, but is going to be very important here in the core league, no double yellow line rule. So anywhere on this track is fair game. If you want to go on the apron, and you would spin out, but if you wanted to, that is an option for you. And we really see it on the straightaways here, especially going into the tri-oval at the finishes. So just keep that in mind going into this, what may be the last stint, final restart here. Is anywhere on this racetrack is fair game.
Technically, yes, but you go down below the yellow line at your own risk. Remember, we didn't have a yellow line rule when this version of Daytona International Speedway was scanned in 2008. So it's not there, but we will see how it pans out over the next 5 laps. It is Justin Champagne, Blake McCandless that lead us back to green. 5 laps to go here at the World Center of Racing. McCandless with help from Schildhaus, with help from Butler, with help from Gary Owen, who we have not seen much of near the pointy end of this field. But here we are. When it's crunch time, he's right there as we see Travis Brown trying to make things happen up top.
He and Michael Cozy Jr. linked up on the outside. A slight bit of blinking going on from Travis right now, and that might scare Cozy off a little bit. Big block from Justin Champagne on the outside on Moonhead right there. Coming to 5 laps to go off turn number 4. It's Blake McCandless who has the field on the inside, but here comes Michael P. Frisch. He's on the outside. McCandless trying to take the lead.
Frisch and LaPrade, 2 former champions of this series, in the middle controlling that. Travis Brown trying to gain back a little bit of time that he lost on that last time. Coming in, big move there from Moonhead to go up top, and Champagne will counter immediately by shifting to the middle to leave Travis all by his lonesome. Save for Michael Cozy. Now Harry Tiller will jump up there, and here comes Brian LaPrade, who will take advantage of the momentum to try and go to the front here. 5 laps to go.
All of it setting in. 5 laps to go, and it feels like the intensity's at an all-time high. Everybody trying to put their nose up for the lead. Harry Tiller jumps to the high lane with Travis Brown. Brian LaPrade is trying to play both sides, so maybe he'll come out on top. You have Michael P. Frisch pushing the number 19 machine. But here comes Travis Brown with Harry Tiller on the outside. Not going to be able to block it that time, Brian LaPrade. And now they are 3 wide for the lead. 4 laps to go at the Daytona International Speedway.
Oh, Travis got the fence, and everybody checked up behind him. Alillo went to the middle to react to everything that was happening ahead of him in that outside lane, but that killed their momentum. So now, will LaPrade jump up there? Will Michael P. Frisch jump up there? Will Justin Champagne go up there? Will Melillo have the opportunity to pass Brown and go to the high line. Here goes Champagne up top.
Trying to go 3 in a row here at Daytona, Justin Champagne. He's going to need help from Travis Brown and Harry Tiller to do it. Tiller is going to jump back down to the middle lane. Just 2 cars on the outside coming to 3 laps to go. It's still McCandless, Shieldhouse, LaPrade, and Michael P. Frisch all lined up together. Justin Champagne, though, with a run, and now both of them are going to block the outside. 3 wide for the lead.
LaPrade tried to block twice. He could only make it happen once. Frisch was able to get underneath him with help from Justin Lavalillo as Shieldhouse and Frisch bounce off of each other for second. They've dropped that outside lane hard. Here comes Dylan Kim, the 3rd car, now trying to go to the high line to get that help with Champagne and Brian LaPrade and go straight to the front.
Dylan Kim, he has help from LaPrade behind him. If they can just get a little more grouped up, coming to 2 laps to go through turns number 3 and 4. It's still McCandless and Michael P. Frisch side by side. Justin Malillo, the Season 4 winner here, trying to get up in this party. Dylan Kim with a run on the outside. 2 laps to go from the Daytona International Speedway.
All about Michael P. Frisch for the moment. Cam and LaPrade up there. Champagne is there too. McCandless and Shieldhouse in the middle. Then it's Malillo and Frisch in control of the center. But that center line a little bit more squirrely than they'd like. Now Kim, the lead car on that high line. Does anybody decide to jump up there? But they are 3 by 3 by 3 as Kim will come down to the bottom and drop right in front of Michael P. Frisch to take control of that middle lane. Here comes McCandless down on the bottom coming off of turn 4 to the white flag for race 1.
Don't count out David Shieldhouse either. We saw him trying to make moves on the inside. If he sticks with McCandless here, he's going to have a real shot. It's Brian LaPrade on the outside. 3 wide at the line for the white flag here in race number 1 of the Core Summer Series. Still 3 by 3 this entire pack as they head into turn number 1.
Continuing to go. Here comes Kim, McCandless, LaPrade just about even as they come off of turn 2.
1 car tags the wall in the back. It's Fly Guy. They're still 3 by 3 throughout this entire pack. Brian LaPrade with a run on the outside. Dylan Kim with help from Michael P. Frisch in the middle. McCandless and David Shieldhouse still lead this bottom lane. Watch out for this 20 car. I think he's going to have a real shot as the entire pack comes off turn number 4 for the last time.
McCandless out ahead by a nose. Kim to his outside. Drag race down the chute to come to the line and win it and take the first checkered flag. And the first race for the Core Summer Series presented by Simrat Market was Dylan Kim by 0.02 of a second over Blake McCandless. They were even at the line. There was contact behind them, but it's Kim who will take his Dodge to victory lane to open up the Core Summer Series and pick up race 1 of the Cody Hicken 250 at Daytona.
What a finish, and it's Dylan Kim. He made a crazy move with 3 to go, got up there, just bided his time. Everybody died behind him. I mean, really, just a terrible crash coming to the checkered flag. Narrowly beats out Blake McCandless. What a way to start out the Core Summer Series presented by Simrap Market. My goodness.
I don't think
well-deserved burnout.
I don't think I got the chance to say it in the broadcast. I think we came to a yellow right as I was about to make the point, but I think of all the races that I've seen here at Daytona where the middle ends up making the difference, and even in other plate tracks too. We saw Brandon Cattell win the Coke Series in 2020 at Talladega off of a run he got by marshaling the middle lane. And where was Dylan Kim when it came to crunch time and when it mattered the most, Caleb?
The middle.
Right smack dab, first car in that middle line. It's almost as if, with all of his experience with Moon Car, that he's done a few of these races.
Yeah, and that was I cannot stress enough that wreck at the finish. But Dylan Kim going to come out on top here. And we'll get a replay for you to show this replay, or show this finish for you. It was true pandemonium behind Dylan Kim. And here you go again, 3 wide throughout this entire field. And I thought David Shieldhouse was going to make a move down to the inside, but he ended up sticking with McCandless. Just wasn't quite enough, and you're going to see it's a little bit of contact on this high lane. Justin Champagne and Brian LaPrade make a little bit of contact, and Champagne just gets launched. I mean, we have about 5-6 cars upside down at the start-finish line, and everybody else is involved that aren't named Blake McCandless or Dylan Kim. Hoods flying everywhere, parts flying everywhere.
Yeah, the core Twitter has it pretty well summed up as everybody stuffed into the fence. You can see a good look at this one more time. Trying to cap it here, it was Frisch who bounced into LaPrade, and then Champagne who got down into Frisch that really started everything. and whatever this is, I'm not sure what to call it. Justin Malillo, I think, just hit reverse and decided to gas it up. I don't know if he actually was in the gas or if he just clutched it out, but that was that's a car moving quickly in reverse for the situation that we're in.
Yeah, that might be the gigantic one or the enormous one or something like that. That's core for you.
It's core. That's core. That's hockey, baby. That's core, baby. Something like that. We could drop a John Forsland reference in here, can't we? Right? Here we go. Let's get back to business and get down to business. Not to defeat the Huns, but instead to tell you where your favorite driver finished in the first race of tonight's doubleheader for the Cody Hicken 250 at the virtual Daytona International Speedway in the season opener for the Core Summer Series presented by Sim Wrap Market. Dylan Kem, Blake McCandless, Michael P. Frisch, your podium. We'll talk to all of them in just a moment. David Schildhouse finishes fourth. Briar LaPrade, fifth this evening. Sixth in race one was Sean Butler. Justin Malillo finished in the seventh spot. Eighth went to Harry Tiller. Ninth to Justin Champagne. Top 10 finished off by Travis Brown. Then Gary Owen and Michael Cozy Jr.
13th place going to be Joey Stone. We saw him involved in an early accident. Kind of hampered his run tonight. Davin Cornelius drive through in the 14th position. Ryan Vargas in 15th. Fly Guy in 16th. Coming home in the 17th position, Brayton Laster. Rusty Walrus, we saw him in that wreck under caution, coming home 18th. Chase Cabry in 19th. Rounding out your field here, going to be Wes Graham, Case Kallenbach, Corey Vervinkt, and Cosmin Ionescu coming home 23rd.
There's your full field rundown for race number one. Now time to bring in our race winner, Dylan Kem. We talked about how important the middle was in situations like these right after the checkered flag. Take us through the thought process there, starting from about 5 to go, to get yourself in what you thought was the right position to win this race.
Well, first I want to say thank you to Briar. When I went to the top, he stayed with me. Nobody pulled up in front of me. The top works until the second car in line gets hot. He got me clear of the middle and the bottom. I didn't want to go to the bottom because I know the middle is really strong. So I pulled in front of Frisch, and big shout out to Frisch for giving me that push coming to the end. It worked. It did really good. I know there was chaos behind us in the mirror coming into the tri-oval, but I mean, man, I went from 5 laps down. I had a meatball in the middle of that race, and I was trying to think ahead of when I wanted to take the fast repair, how I was going to get back to the front. I thought there'd be a green-white checker, but we started that last restart in like 19th or something. Made the move to the top, and I couldn't have done it without Briar, couldn't have done it without Frisch, so big credit goes to those guys. Thank you to Blake for racing me clean coming to the line. But fantastic, good time, super excited for the next one. I can't wait. I'm going to try to go back-to-back, man.
First core win, too, which in a league as prestigious as this, that has to mean something significant to you, yeah?
Oh, 100%. I've come up short a lot of times. There's been a lot of close times. I've had bad luck in a lot of races, and tonight we'll take the good luck. And I appreciate it, guys. Thank you to all of you putting it on for the broadcast and everything. You guys do a fantastic job, and I appreciate it.
Dylan, we'll let you go get ready for race number 2, but congratulations on winning race number 1 and winning the first race of the 2023 Core Summer Series presented by Sim Wrap Market.
Thank you, guys.
Dylan Kem, your winner. Second, McCandles himself, hopefully back from stealing all the power from the lights at Langley Speedway over the weekend in the Cars Tour and back to bring the bright lights to Daytona. Comes here with the second place finish and is alongside Caleb Hoffman.
Yeah, and here with Blake McCandless, second place finisher here tonight. Ended last season with a win at Atlanta, and you come up just short of getting a win here tonight. Anything else you could have done there, Candles?
Yeah, well, I mean, if I had you helping me, I probably could have won, Caleb. but anyways, I don't know. We were kind of trapped there on the bottom. There was maybe one or two times I could have cleared up to the middle, but the way I look at it, the kind of being the leader on the bottom line is a little bit safer. But you don't get the run off the corner, and Dylan just got the right push from Frisch at the right time that there wasn't much we could do. But I don't know. I had a lot of bad luck in these races, Daytona, Talladega, pretty much any of the plate tracks last year. I did pretty bad in course, so I'll take a P2. Good way to start the night, and hopefully next 40 or so we can put something together to at least get another top 5 to be in the conversation for the championship. So that's the one thing is that consistency will do it. So we could just put together some good finishes and be there at the end, hopefully. And I'm able to make every race. We'll be there for it. But really fun race, great group of drivers, and shout out to you guys for putting it on an Underdog Fantasy for all the support.
Absolutely, and another 40-lap race coming up for you, Blake. You like your chances in that one?
Yeah, if it's just choosing the lanes at the right time. This track and this car is really bumpy. I know it was last year, but it's like the cars are more out of control in the corners than they were before. So I think because of that, you'll see a lot of wrecks, and I would like to see a green flag run, maybe get some green flag pit stops, because then we'll see a lot of strategy play out. So hopefully we get that in race 2, but it's Daytona. We could win, we could finish 23rd in the next race. So we'll just see. Just glad to get out of here with P2.
All right, well, we'll let you go prepare for race number 2 here. Congratulations on a second place. Good start to the night for you, Blake.
Thanks, Sweetums.
That's Blake McCandless, second place here tonight, Pike.
McCandless, a reminder, we've got one more race coming up in our doubleheader, so don't go anywhere. But Caleb Hoffman, Core is back. That's a way to start a season.
Well, yeah, what a way to get it started. It's always so much fun, Core at Daytona. I mean, I feel like every race that Core has here is an instant classic, and the best part of it is, we just wrapped that first race up, but we got another one coming right up. We got 40 more laps of what you just saw right up next, and I cannot wait for one to get in and watch it.
Well, let's not delay. We'll go ahead and take a commercial break here, and then we'll be back on the other side with race number 2 here at the Cody Higgins 250 for the Core Summer Series presented by SimRat Market. Don't go anywhere. Back with more action on FTF.GG right after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Midway race break here from the virtual Daytona International Speedway. Race number 1 just completed. Here are some of the highlights from race 1. It didn't take very long for the crashing to get started. Ryan Vargas bounces off of Justin Melillo. Fly Guy checks up. Dylan Kim gets turned around. We'll talk more about Kim later. Corey Vervink, Brian LaPrat, among others. Right on board with Fly Guy through the crash. He gets turned, and boy, he hangs on to that thing down in the apron, a la Kyle Busch. 2012. Great stuff from Fly Guy. Lap number 6, we stay green after this. Travis tries to cut down behind Rusty, and he turns him, keeps it off the inside wall. And again, we stay green. Couple laps later, though, Cozy has to check up, gets turned by Cosman into Harry Tiller. Up into the air goes the 84 of Cosman. Right on board with the number 84 Rise Esports machine. There's the contact after Melillo got the wall. Cozy checked up. And a wild ride, McCandless, Fly Guy, and others involved in that crash. That's on lap number 9. Then on lap 15, contact again. Champagne into the outside wall. That gets Sean Butler sideways. Dylan Kim again crashes, hits the outside wall, spins back down the racetrack. You're right on board with Kim. There's the contact with the 32. Back up into the outside wall. A hard hit before spinning back down the racetrack. A lot of damage for that number 9 early. Lap 25, Cosman gets into the back of Ryan Vargas. They stack up. The inside line falls apart. Drive-through gets hooked into the outside wall and crowd surfs on top of not one but 2 cars. You're right on board. Wes Graham hooks him right there up into the outside wall, and then Cosman and Justin Champagne pile in underneath. Now the Big Fan Esports machine right on board with Champagne, the guy that swept both races here last year. A lot of damage to the front end. This is under caution. I think Harry Tiller was trying to take the chicane, and Rusty didn't know the plan. You're right on board, not a lot of reaction time, and he drop kicks him. We still need some further investigation on that. Hopefully we can get there in race number 2. Lap 30, Case Kallenbach gets tipped by Gary Owen up the racetrack into the wall, takes Melillo, Wes Graham, Ryan Vargas with him. And another multi-car crash in the tri-oval. Another angle here, bouncing off of Sean Butler involved in that. You see DT, Brayton Laster, all sneaking through. Joey Stone sneaking down through the grass. And then the finish, just moments ago, that you saw live here on FTF.GG. They made it the last 6 laps under green. Dylan Kim started outside front row, crashed twice, and goes to victory lane as the field flies apart behind. A look at the carnage that I don't know if we actually saw live. 1, 2, 3 cars upside down. Drive-through crowd surf some more. And a lot of wrecked race cars at the end of 40 laps here at Daytona as Dylan Kim burns down the house here on the front straightaway. So, Pike and Caleb, race number 2, coming your way next. I hope you gentlemen are ready because I believe we're getting close to starting race number 2. And Dylan Kim, by the way, since it's a reverse grid, he gets to start from the back.
He'll start from the back as you see a little bit of the fun and festivities before we get back to racing and complete the evening with the second race of our double header as per usual in core competition with this Cody Hicken 250 at Daytona International Speedway, race number 2 in round number 1 of the 2023 Core Summer Series presented by Sim Wrap Market. Did you get enough of a chance to breathe before this race, Caleb, after what we just saw?
My heart's still pounding, but you know, it's core, so we just gotta act like it's 80 laps of just nonstop action, because that's what it feels like.
And it feels like we've got a grid ready to rock and roll with. So how about this? Let's go with the grid for race number 2 in your Eric Messer Photography pole sitter and pole award winner for race number 2, Cosmin Issue, with the inverted grid. So he takes that home at courtesy of the official photographer of the Madhouse, Bowman Gray Stadium, and the Core League Summer Series. Meanwhile, your Alpha Prime Racing grid looks like this. Beyond Cosmin, Corey Vervinkt will start not quite as high as he did in the first race, but just near it. Second, Case Kallenbach and Wes Graham making up 3rd and 4th on the grid. Chase Cabry and Russell Cox start in 5th and 6th. Rusty Walrus for the uninitiated. Brayton Laster and Fly Guy in row number 4. The top 10 completed by Ryan Vargas and Drive Through.
Joey Stone's going to roll off 11th, hoping to rebound after race number 1. Michael Cozy Jr. going to start to his outside in row number 6. Going to be starting in 13th in row number 7. Outside of him is going to be Moonhead in the 01 machine. 15th going to be Justin Champagne. We saw him making a bunch of moves in race number 1. Going to try to pick up where he left off. Harry Tiller going to be starting to his outside in the 16th position. Justin Malillo in 17th. Sean Butler to his outside in 18th. Rounding out your top 20 is going to be Bryla Pratt, the number 19, and defending champion David Schulthouse in row number 10.
Final starters here, your top finishers from that first race. Blake McCandless, Michael P. Frisch, and then your race winner, shotgun on the field this time around. So Dylan Kim will have to march through the field at Daytona if he wants to make it back to the front. Again, a reminder here that at Daytona International Speedway, it is a big racetrack. 2.5 miles, 4.2 kilometers, 31 degrees of banking in turns, 18 degrees of banking in the tri-oval, 3 degrees of banking in the straights, and this is another 40-lap race to complete our total distance, 200 miles, 321 kilometers. We've got 100 miles of racing to go here on FTF.GG, and one more pit stop for these drivers that they will absolutely have to make. You cannot make it to the end on fuel, but we may end up getting enough cautions here that might not matter in the end. Weather, by the way, identical to what we had in that first race. So 70 degrees Fahrenheit air temp, 87 degrees Fahrenheit track temp, winds to the north at 2 miles an hour, no humidity. Default day for iRacing right after 10:15 a.m. local time, as Cosman is going to lead us to green here for the closer of the doubleheader in the Cody Hicken 250. Cosman on the gas pedal. We are back underway from Daytona. And we get to turn 2 before we have a yellow flag trouble. Michael Cozy Jr., one of the drivers that went around. I'm not sure if he was the first, but center of the incident was he, and I think it was contact with Harry Tiller that gets us under the yellow flag before we even get going.
And we'll get the replay here for you. Not really sure here. It looks like it was a little bit of a checkup in the middle lane. You'll see it right here. I think Cozy checks up a little bit, and nobody in that middle lane's expecting it, so it gets Harry stacked up and just sends everybody around. Cozy right there. Brayton Laster around on the apron. Everybody does a good job of avoiding it, but not sure what the initial stack up is for.
Big time stack up there. Big moments. As yeah, you see the contact there, and Tiller gets into the rear of Cozy, and then trouble left, right, and center.
And we'll try to get some further elaboration on that with Michael Cozy Jr. And it looked like there was a stack up in the middle lane there. What happened on that start?
Yeah, I was trying not to put it up DT's rear end there, and in my attempt to not do that, somebody put it up my rear end there, and we wrecked. So that sucks, but you know, I didn't hit anything too hard, and I don't think anybody hit me too hard, so I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, so not big enough for the faster pair just yet?
I hope not. I'm about to find out. Let's see what these guys say. I hope it's not too bad.
All right, well, you ran up front for most of the first race. Do you have a different strategy to attack the second race, or do you think more of the same, just going to ride up in front of that pack?
Yeah, I'd like to ride up front the whole race this time. We'll see.
All right, well, that's Michael Cozy Jr. involved in that first accident, hoping to turn the second race around. Thanks for your time, Cozy. We will try to get that ship righted, Pike.
Yeah, the opportunity to come down pit road. I have a feeling he'll probably hang on to his faster pair. Cozy's as experienced as they come, has won some pretty big races at Daytona before in his career in iRacing, so I don't worry about him in that sense. And if you're a fan of Mr. Winval 8820 himself, I'm not all that concerned because he'll be able to hang on to the faster pair, pull it out when he needs to, and make something happen in the last 10 laps of this race. And then it's up to just the general randomness of restrictor plate racing, right? I think Denny Hamlin said it best on Accidents Detrimental earlier this year. You can put yourself in the right position to win races, but there's always an element of luck and a select amount of variables that you cannot control, and all you can do is give yourself the best opportunity to try and make the most of the situation. If you increase chances, it's all you can do. So you understand that it never totally is in your control when you're at Daytona or Talladega, but if you give yourself a shot, better than absolutely no chance. While we have a moment, let's take the opportunity to thank the partners that make the Core Summer Series presented by Sim Wrap Market possible. So many folks that help make this series go, courtesy of our friends, starting with Cody Hicken, Soundhead Entertainment. Can't forget the folks at Alpha Prime Racing who do such great work for this series. Largus Security, part of the group that helps Core. MAT Liveries, proud supporter of the Core League. Gabe Wood, who paid for this, on board. Brayton Laster, rocks and loves pizza. Eric Messer Photography, part of the group. Splash and Go Graphics, and of course, the presenting partner of this summer series for Core, SimWrapMarket.com. All on board to help the Core League grow, especially in this first ever summer series. I think the potential is just all over the place here for a lot of fun throughout June and July. Caleb.
Yeah, starting here, you see everybody on the choose cone here, and we didn't get a chance to touch on it, but yeah, we have a fun schedule. You might have heard it in the pre-race, starting off here with two duels essentially from Bumpy Daytona for race 1 and 2. Next week, Rockingham for 60 laps in 2 more duels. Then we got Kansas on June 19th, going to Charlotte for an exhibition event with the street stocks in a fun heat format. Then going to Eldora in the ARCA package for these race cars and doing some more heats there. Iowa for 75 laps each, and then ending out the season July 31st at Legacy, Michigan for 50 laps each. So all the summer, we got Core racing going on. Going to be a lot of fun.
Core Summer Series. Kick it off tonight with the Cody Hicken 250 from Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. Jacob Hitz, the capable friend of Core and master of all of our pre and in-between race content. James Pike alongside Caleb Hoffman here in the booth to bring you all the action from this second race. It's Fly Guy that will lead us back to green flag racing. Cosman to his outside as we come back up to speed at the World Center of Racing.
And you see Fly Guy with Case Kallenbach on the inside. Cosman and DT have a big run on the outside. Sean Butler's going to opt to go with them. David Schildhaus has to decide whether or not he wants to pick that outside with more cars or if he wants to go on the inside. We'll have that advantage. Still side by side. It's going to be Cosman Ionescu with the run with help from DT.
Cosman flying to the front just like the Superman on the hood of his machine. Representing Rise Esports is Cosman, and in control of that outside lane. He's out in front ahead of DT, ahead of Sean Butler, ahead of Ryan Vargas and Champagne Racing. Here comes Butler to the middle now. Vargas will go there. Cosman will go down to the middle to block the run, and then it will be Butler dropping the elevator further to go to the inside and take the race lead entering turn 1.
Great move there from Sean Butler, and he's going to have Fly Guy helping him. Up on the high side, DT and Justin Champagne are together. Michael Cozy Jr., after being involved in that first accident, right back up here. Didn't have to use that faster pair, so his race in great shape still. Outside lane with a huge run. DT, Champagne, Cozy still all together, and now Ryan Vargas going to bail on this middle lane, go to the inside. He's going to have a run. He's going to try to take the lead here out of turn number 4.
It'll be Schildhaus who crawls up to the rear bumper of Cosman to become the second car in the middle lane. Meanwhile, you've got DT up top. You've got Justin Malillo, and your race 1 winner, Dylan Kim, has already made it back up to the top 10. He goes to the inside. Vargas in control down there. Cosman ahead by a car length in 1.
Once again, with these higher speeds and how strong the draft is here, I mean, these runs will come to you at will. Big checkup in the middle line. Justin Melillo had to get off the throttle for 1 second. Brian LaPrade got him stacked up, and now he will have to use going here to try to get back up to this lead pack, because right now he's fallen off it just a little bit.
Continuing to roll here is Vargas on that bottom lane. Here comes Cosman with help from the top side. DT in that third lane making some moves. A lot of drivers laying back here and trying to avoid the chaos too. I noticed that this pack is very much spread out as here comes Schildhouse to the high line. Now Melillo becoming the second car in the middle, trying to help out Cosman. And then you've got one Michael Cozy Jr. now in the center of this pack trying to make things happen.
And part of what makes Core Super Speedway Racing so much fun, this group of guys, they just know each other so well with this track and car combination. So, again, not a lot of apprehension with moves here. You're going to see guys just full sended everywhere, and it really makes it a one-of-a-kind spectacle here on iRacing. Still, side by side between Ryan Vargas, Cosman Ionescu, Justin Melillo up here, David Schildhouse, and DT still trying to formulate a run here on the outside.
Here comes Cosman and David, now the first driver in that high line to make moves with a little bit of help from DT. Brian LaPrade lurking in the background there. I think they've got a better handle of how bumpy this track is. Not as many crazy moves as we've seen from the front pack, and that may string out some folks in the back.
And you're going to see Ryan Vargas, Cosman Ionescu, David Schildhouse all three wide for the lead here still. Sean Butler on the inside lane pushing Vargas, and they actually have a really big run. The problem with this outside lane so far is that they just don't have enough support.
Outside lane is not as popular as it was late in the going in race one of this Cody Hicken 250, but we've got 31 laps to change that, and I have a feeling we're going to see that at some point. But Cosman doing a nice job of running from the front. I think this is a change in strategy. He sort of sat towards the back in race one. It didn't work out for him, so flipping the script a bit. Maybe it's a let me try and stay out front and stay ahead of the trouble.
Absolutely, and still three wide here. And one thing I've noticed so far, I think everybody here has really settled in this lead pack. I mean, we're seeing three wide, and you know, just a race ago, some of these moves that they've been making and how unsettled these cars have been would definitely have caused some wrecks. And here we are right now, just chugging along strong, three wide, taking off laps here at Daytona.
Maybe getting a little bit antsier. I thought I saw a bobble from Melillo on the exit of 4 that time. Here comes Champagne working his way to the top line, and he gets into Harry Tiller, and Tiller's going to grab the fence just a little bit right in front of Goen. It was a bit of a minor miracle, honestly, that they didn't wreck at that point, but it's still 2 by 2 by 2 up towards the front, and 3 wide there if you count Schildhouse and DT.
DT going to tag the wall here, and Justin Champagne going to rethink that support on the outside. It's still just going to be Schildhouse and DT on the outside. They do have a run, though. Vargas, Cosman still leaders on the inside, with help from Michael P. Frisch, Justin Melillo, Dylan Kim, the race one winner. Michael Cozy Jr.'s in this pack as well in the middle. Still, Vargas retains the lead out of turn 4.
A lot of these drivers, I think, now in their groove. They've got a better understanding of how their cars handle on this bumpy surface of the pre-repay and pre-renovation Daytona International Speedway. So we're seeing a lot less craziness in the corners, a little bit more give, at least for now. But again, that can all change over the course of 30-some laps. Plenty of time to go before we wrap this Cody Hicken 250.
And still guys that are hanging off this lead pack. I mean, you have guys like Brian LaPrade, Blake McCandless, Michael P. Frisch, all front runners in that first race that are just hanging back for right now. Still 3 by 3 up front. This outside lane has gained a lot of support. Justin Champagne's here, Goen's here, but still going to be side by side for the lead off 4. It's Ryan Vargas and Cosman Ionescu.
Cosman still sitting in the middle. That's where Dylan Kim was to win the first race of the night. Remember that when we get towards the end of proceedings here. Meanwhile, Gary Owen thinks about going top, then decides to go bottom. Brian LaPrade is just at the back of that lead pack, and then you see a string of folks back there: Brayton Laster, Case Callabach, Wes the Mess, Blake McCandless, Fly Guy, Michael P. Frisch, Rusty Wallace, and then Revink and Cabry way off the back.
Still 3 wide, and it's a big rubber band effect right now. This middle lane for the first time has a big surge, though. Cosman Ionescu with help from Justin Melillo and Michael Cozy Jr. gets a big shove, but going into turn number 3, Vargas with help from Sean Butler with the outside, getting into the wall just a little bit with Schildhaus and DT. Vargas, Sean Butler, all in line here, still have the lead at Daytona.
At the line, it will be Cosman by 3 thousandths of a second. That was tight there, coming to close out lap number 13. But Cosman in control of this still. Vargas is there. Schildhaus now the first car on the outside, and I think he did get the fence. He got the fence a good bit actually, so he'll fall off and kill the momentum on top.
4 wide for a second there. Now DT, a sitting duck on the outside all by himself as that momentum has just dissipated completely. Now it's a 2-horse race between Ryan Vargas, Cosman Ionescu for the lead. Sean Butler side by side with Cosman Ionescu off at turn number 4. Cosman coming with a run. It's still Vargas's race.
Oh, Cam, I think almost got into Melillo there, and he went down to the bottom to avoid hitting Melillo's machine. It's still Cosman and Vargas pacing this, but everybody else is sort of waiting, biding their time. Now we see Travis Brown beginning to make his way towards the front, and Joey Stone tried to go up top and then got a huge piece of the wall in turn 1, so he'll fall back in line.
Still side by side here, Vargas and Cosman. The rubber banding effect is real. It's just back and forth between these two for right now, just ticking off laps. Lap 15 of 40 here at Daytona. Sean Butler, Justin Melillo riding in line back behind them. Dylan Kim, Michael Cozy Jr. drive through. He's to the outside of Harry Tiller and Goen all make up this lead pack.
And now cars coming down pit road here for service. A distinct strategy call from Butler and from Vargas and McCandless and Frisch. Those 4 coming in. This pays off big, Caleb, if we go green flag the rest of the way. They will be very much in the catbird seat as the rest of the field exits turn 2 and begins down the back straightaway.
And when we have this dual format, it always seems like we have a chaotic one and a calm one, so maybe those guys are all betting on this one being the calm one. Albeit up at the front, it is getting crazy once again. Cosman Ionescu has the lead, but here comes Justin Melillo peeking down to the inside. Cozy and Champagne with help on the outside. Maybe they have something to say. Drive-thru's back up in it as well. They're trying to dodge lap traffic. It's Corey Vervink trying to get onto the pit lane. They keep it green, and we are still racing here from Daytona.
Penalty for Sean Butler, I presume, for speeding on pit road. So disaster if we don't get a yellow for Butler as you get a good look on board with Justin Melillo, and you see just how bumpy this is. Look at the camera on his rig shake.
Lots of shaking indeed, and that is just the bumps throwing him around, as Sean Butler described, chaotic and violent here at Daytona. Big run on the outside. Here comes drive-through with help from Michael Cozy Jr. and Justin Champagne. He has the advantage going into turn number 3. Cozy's going to tag the wall and dissipate that outside lane once again. Going to kill all the support they have, and it's still going to be Dylan Kim, Cosman Ionescu side by side for the lead out of 4.
Cosman's just been hanging in that middle lane. He's been sitting there, just biding his time. Doesn't really matter who goes up top, who goes down low. He's more than happy to be right in the heart of it all. And in front of this race, he has been for a good chunk. It looks like he's learned something from the first go-round here at Daytona, because that machine looks really, really strong.
Absolutely, and Cosman Ionescu maybe using what Dylan Kim had in that first race, just using the middle lane to his advantage. It's where we saw the winner in race 1, and he's going to try to do it here again in race number 2. Drive-through and Justin Champagne have regathered, recollected, just don't have enough support. Harry Tiller giving a big shot to Dylan Kim, who has the lead off 4.
No other takers down pit road yet, coming to lap 19. 2 laps from being halfway in the second race of our doubleheader tonight for the season opener of the Core Summer Series presented by Simrat Market. On board with the one pizza man, Brayton Laster. Here's both his car and his rig, and maybe the best bed cover you're ever going to see in this series.
Yeah, pizza covering the bed, pizza covering the car. On paint scheme for Brayton Laster, who's running 4th on the inside lane. Big shove going to go, and maybe that can translate up to the front where it's still Cosman Ionescu and Dylan Kim. And both of these guys kind of in a 2-car tandem pack, 2 different 2-car tandem packs rather. Dylan Kim with help from Tiller. Going to be Cosman Ionescu and Justin Melillo, though, on the outside coming to the stripe.
Cosman leads another lap here. Kim to his inside. Here comes Travis Brown with a run on the high line. He's got Champagne with him and drive-through peeking, thinking about going up there, and then decided to stay in the middle. But Cosman still control. Harry Tiller, second car on the inside line, and Gary Ogan down there too.
Moonhead with help from Champagne. They have tons of speed and a big run coming on the outside. Just those two cars by themselves challenging Cosmin Ionescu for the lead. They have drive-through in line behind them, and really this middle lane has come apart for the first time. And it's going to be Cosmin Ionescu who has advantage over Dylan Kim, who has no drafting help, with Travis Brown and Champagne to the outside. Who gets the lead coming to halfway?
The outside fights. Brown maybe at the line. No. 3/1000ths of a second says that it belongs to Cosmin Ionescu still. And as we cross halfway, we will take a commercial break here at FTF.DG, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more action from the Core Summer Series presented by Simrat Market in 90 seconds. Welcome back to FTF.GG's coverage of the Core Summer Series presented by Simrat Market. James Pike and one Caleb Hoffman bringing you all the action from Daytona. Dylan Kim and Travis Brown racing at the front, Caleb.
A little bit of contact there between Brayton and Laster. They're getting dicey up here at the front. There was also contact between Justin Champagne and Travis Brown. All of them still 3 wide in a 6-car pack at the front of the field. It's Justin Champagne drive-through on the outside. Travis Brown, Moonhead, and Cosmin Ionescu on the inside. Then Dylan Kim going with a little bit of help from Harry Tiller.
I just want to make note of the group that came down pit road for service some 7 laps ago. Frisch, Vargas, McCandless, Sean Butler is all by himself in a lap down after the penalty, but those 3 have found some drafting help. So if something happens here, they are in really, really, really good shape. Or rather, if nothing happens, I take that back. If we go green. The leaders here, though, continue to thunder around this racetrack and continue to go nutty as they make all the big moves at the front, trying to sort this out as best they can. As that is one Joey Stone off the racetrack by the start-finish line. Couldn't tell what happened to him initially. Harry Tiller now down pit road, and that thins out the lead pack just a little bit. Travis Brown now the control car in the middle as they return to the backstretch.
Still 3 by 3, and you're starting to see guys peel off for pit stops here. Drive-through and Justin Champagne going to have to be really mindful here. In testing, it was about 28 laps that you could go, and they are about 3 laps away from that threshold, and drive-through is actually going to tag the wall just a little bit. But as you said, really starting to see this lead pack thin out. It's still Dylan Kim who has the lead off 4.
A lot of drivers getting down to the inside, beginning to prepare for the inevitable pit stop as one car goes spinning. It's David Schildhaus who slides and somehow made it into pit road without too much damage. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Case Kallenbach sliding through the grass. Everybody else, though, in this lead pack still needs to make a pit stop as Kallenbach's going to have to come back through for service. Disastrous for him.
Absolutely, and 3 cars still holding the middle line here. That's Moonhead, Justin Champagne, and drive-through all in line, and they're going to have to figure something out here. And I think Moonhead's going to go down to the inside, maybe preparing for a stop here. Dylan Kim in line behind him, Go and Cosmin Ionescu and Justin Malillo all on this inside lane. We'll see who comes in this time off 4.
Nobody yet, so they are going to stretch this out to the very, very end. Now, worth noting that Moonhead and Dylan Ken came down 3 laps later than everyone else. So Champagne, drive-through, going, Cosman in particular, going to have to come down within the next 1 or 2 laps or so. But as it stands, just have to wait and see.
Still Justin Champagne holding strong on the outside versus Moonhead. Big run on the outside with help from drive-through and Brayton Laster. Justin Malillo comes over the radio, says he's pitting this time, and now Justin Champagne going to leave drive-through on the outside, go to that bottom side to prepare for pit stops. It's Champagne, Travis, Dylan Kim, and going all in line on the inside.
So Champagne now in front. Yep, here they come. All of the drivers who needed to make a pit stop, and Justin Malillo in for service. So they'll come down, save for, I believe, yes, he did. Drive-through stayed out, so he's the one driver that really does need to make a stop here. And then you've got 2 or 3 laps for Moonhead, Dylan Kim, Brayton Laster, Michael Cozy Jr., Rusty Walrus, and Briar LaPrade.
Goen and Cosman getting black flagged on pit road there. Going to have to hope for a yellow to try to get them back on cycle here. Drive-through has to pit this time. He has to be running on empty at this point. It's still going to be Travis Brown, Dylan Kim, Brayton Laster. Michael Cozy Jr. says he's coming down pit road this time by. Now drive-through trying super hard to get down on the pit lane.
Here comes Kim, here comes Brown, here comes Cozy. All the drivers that pitted a little bit later. Also black flags for Schildhouse, West the Mess, and Fly Guy off of their pit stops. And so your leader, I believe, though yet to make a pit stop, will be Brayton Laster and then Rusty Walrus. And we will wait to see who amongst those that need to pit will be the next to jump out and control this field after the pit cycle.
And Rusty Walrus, well known for his pit stop shenanigans to get TV time. He loves messing around here under green flag conditions when we do have green flag stops. So if Brayton Laster comes in, don't be surprised to see that number 59 machine stay out. Still, it is just these 2 left to pit. Everybody else should be cycling out, save for Joey Stone. And now Brayton Laster going to come in this time.
Laster comes in, Walrus stays out, and we talked about those who came down early to try and short pit and get the track position, and the drivers that may well be leading this field once everything comes back. Vargas, McCandless, and Michael P. Frisch. How about that?
Tons of fun. You see this lead pack down the backstretch all on the high side. And the speed differential here is insane. Rusty Walrus right now going about 185. It's about a 12 mile per hour difference, 12 to 15 mile per hour difference for everybody here. So he is just bleeding lap time. He's got to come down sometime soon, not only for fuel, but just to get inside of a pack again.
So here are your leaders, and not everyone in this group is part of this bunch. Vargas, McCandless, Butler is a lap down, as is Cabry. Frisch is on the lead lap, as is Tiller, and Wes Graham is 1 lap down.
And still the only 2 cars that have not come in yet. Rusty Walrus, Joey Stone. Joey Stone, this lead pack quickly gaining on him, and now Joey Stone will come down the pit lane, leaving just Rusty Walrus to pit. So far, and there's that lead pack, as I said. Ryan Vargas, Blake McCandless, Michael P. Frisch, Harry Tiller, Cozy, all in this group.
So here are your leaders. How much will they fight? How much can those who decided to pit later run this group down? This is the advantage of short pitting, especially if you go green flag racing. These drivers will always have the inherent advantage, but if we get green, white checkers, then it's getting really interesting, Caleb.
Absolutely. And right now, if you're Vargas, you don't want to caution or anything of the sort, especially this late in the run, because that would just group everybody back together. Right now, if you are Vargas, all you have to worry about is those 2 guys behind you, and Sean Butler and Blake McCandless, because everybody else, they are cycled out 1 lap down right now.
All Vargas here, and everybody single file as they catch some of the lap traffic. There's Revink to the inside. David Schildhouse, after serving the black flag, is way back 2 laps down from the race leaders. But Vargas is there as Walrus will come down pit road for service.
And again, that will cycle out these 3 cars as the leader: Ryan Vargas, Blake McCandless, and Sean Butler. And right now, if you're Vargas, again, it all comes back to having a clean set of pit stops, and you saw that out of Vargas and Blake McCandless. They really had better stops than anybody, and that's going to reflect right now on the racetrack.
The earlier stops are big. I think if you're looking for that next pack in the gap, that's worth noting. Trouble a little bit further back. Travis Brown hit the fence in turn 4 and coming into the chute between 4 and 1, and he got heavy damage to the right front of his machine. Big time hit there within that second pack. I was just about to talk about how they have work to do to catch up, and now they lose one of their soldiers to try and run down what is a 6-second gap from where they are to Vargas, McCandless, Tiller, and company.
Everybody right now just biding their time. 8 laps to go, and still just Vargas and Candles. Harry Tiller side by side with Candles for third off turn number 4.
Harry Tiller may look like the genius out of all this. I'm not quite sure how he was able to pit 8 laps ago and land with this group, but land with this group he did. So he's got more fuel in theory than anybody else. And if we go to some green-white checkered situation, he likely will become the race leader, as the rest of these cars will probably have to pit. So worth keeping that in mind if we get a late race yellow, but as it stands, still Vargas in control.
Absolutely, and those fresher tires going to come into play here, especially at a Daytona where handling is so important. It's still Tiller on the inside trying to use Shieldhouse to get up in front of Ryan Vargas, and he is now side by side with him off 4.
So Vargas there. Remember, Shieldhouse's lap traffic. Tiller is on the lead lap. Butler is not a factor in this. He's a lap down, as is Corey Vervinkt. So Butler trying to race for his lap back. Shieldhouse is 2 laps down. So there may be value for Butler to try and get up front here. If we get a yellow flag late, if he's ahead of Vargas, he'll get his lap back naturally.
And it's still Vargas and McCandless. Harry Tiller got held up behind David Shieldhouse that last time by, so now he has a little bit of extra work to do. Vargas with help from McCandless. No moves being made yet, and I suspect that won't come until late. Here comes David Shieldhouse, that lap traffic down on the inside, but can Harry Tiller use that to his advantage off turn 4 come the leaders?
And can you do anything when everybody's still single file? There's Frisch going to the inside to work with Shieldhouse, and that might create a little bit of diversity amongst this bunch, but when they're just literally running single file 2 complete laps, there is not much you can do if you're Frisch, if you're Tiller, and then you have to take the lap traffic into consideration, and who may they work with, and how may that change the complexion of the finish?
Not only that, but you know, when you're running single file, it's hard enough, but if you get double wide and 3 wide even, that can create a logjam effect as well. So if you're Harry Tiller, it's almost like a no-win situation. You just got to play these runs as they come, and that's exactly what he's doing right now on the tail end of Frisch. He's side by side with McCandless.
Now they're starting to go for it, entering the final 5 laps of the race. Tiller to the inside now. Frisch is there. Remember that Shieldhouse is technically in front of everybody here, but he's a lap down, so it's Frisch and Vargas that are battling for the race lead just behind Shieldhouse's machine, and McCandless and Tiller are there in that second group, and then you've got Butler and West the Mess just at the end of this lead pack.
Up ahead of these leaders, though, we have lap traffic. Chase Cabry's here. Cosmin Ionescu, Joey Stone, Goen, and Case Kallenbach all in a pack together. So these leaders are going to have to navigate that as well as trying to battle each other and the track. Lots of variables going on right now. You see David Shieldhouse fly to the high side. Frisch going to follow. That's going to leave Harry all alone on the inside. He's going to be side by side with Vargas off 4.
Here they come, the leaders mixing their way in and mingling with the lap traffic, coming to 3 laps to go at Daytona in the Cody Hicken 250. Vargas now to the outside of Michael P. Frisch to try and take away the race lead, at least momentarily. McCandless is up there. Butler is up there. What does West the Mess do? Where does he go? He may be the linchpin in all of this at the end.
Absolutely. It's still going to be Vargas and McCandless with Sean Butler's help. Glued together on the outside, Harry Tiller behind Frisch here, and if they can get enough of a run, Shieldhouse blocking the leader of Ryan Vargas. little bit of contact between Tiller and Sean Butler coming to 2 laps to go. It's still Ryan Vargas's race.
Ryan Vargas loves David Schildhouse right now. He performed a masterful pick maneuver on Michael P. Frisch to stop him up and bottle him up. But now here comes Schildhouse bringing the run to Frisch to even him with Vargas as they come back to turn 1. 2 laps to go here in the Cody Aiken 250. Door-to-door for the race lead. One more lap traffic in the form of Fly Guy that they'll catch before the end of this race. And then it's Schildhouse in all of these cars in this lead pack.
Down the backstretch for the penultimate time, it's Ryan Vargas with Blake McCandless. Harry Tiller has the toe of David Schildhouse and Michael P. Frisch on the inside. He just has to get up in this line to be able to mix it up with them. Vargas still has Blake McCandless' help, but don't think Blake McCandless is going to sit there like he has for the last 19 laps. He wants to make a move here after losing race 1.
They almost bounced off of each other coming to the white flag at Daytona in the season opener for the Core Summer Series presented by SimRap Market. Vargas ahead of Frisch by a car length. McCandless sitting in third. And David Schildhouse really, I think, may be the one who ends up determining who wins this race one way or another. He's pulling Frisch down to the bottom, but he blocks him on the straightaways. And who knows how that will factor into things when they come back to the stripe.
It's Ryan Vargas and Blake McCandless with the run as they go down the backstretch for the final time. Can Harry Tiller do anything against these two? Right now, Blake McCandless is boxed in by the number 58 of Michael P. Frisch on the inside. He's going to have to find some real estate somewhere, but he can't with Harry Tiller down on his inside. Ryan Vargas still retains the race lead. Here comes Tiller off 4.
Frisch goes way up high to block and just makes it in time to block Vargas, who gets spun in the back. Tiller to the inside. Everybody wrecking behind as they come across the line. It is Michael P. Frisch who hangs on by mere inches over Harry Tiller as he wrecked across the line to win race number 2 of the Cody Hicken 250 here at Daytona International Speedway. That is how the Core Summer Series kicks off. That's how Core returns to twitch.tv/FTF.GG. My goodness, Caleb Hoffman, what a night of racing at the World Center of Racing.
What an opening night. I mean, we had a little bit of everything here tonight. So much fun. Michael P. Frisch coming out on top in a hard-fought battle with Ryan Vargas. And man, I thought Harry was going to have something for him, but again, a big block from Frisch cements his place in victory lane here tonight.
We will take a quick commercial break, but don't go anywhere. More results, interviews, and all sorts to cover in the post-race show here on FTF.GG. Coverage of the Cody Hicken 250 for the Core Summer Series presented by SimRap Market coming your way in just a few moments. Welcome back to FTF.GG's wide open coverage of the season opener for the Core Summer Series presented by SimRap Market from the virtual Daytona International Speedway. All done with the Cody Hicken, aka that camera guy you might have seen at a Dirt Track One's 250 from the virtual World Center of Racing. This is your final finishing order for race number 2. But before that, lots of love to SimRap Market and company for helping put this series together. Michael P. Frisch, your winner. Harry Tiller, Blake McCandless, second and third. We'll talk to them in a few moments. Ryan Vargas and Justin Champagne completing the top 5. Then it was Michael Cozy Jr., Davin Cornelius, Justin Malillo, Briar LaPrade, and Dylan Kim in the top 10. Then Travis Brown and Rusty Walrus.
going to be Wes Graham finishing 13th tonight. Joey Stone coming home in the 14th position. Case Kallenbach in 15th. All these guys in that secondary pack. Sean Butler in as well, who was mixing it up at the finish there. One lap down after that black flag. Chase Cabry in 17th, going 18th. Cosmin Ionescu, after starting on the pole, going to come home 19th. Flag Eye in 20th, defending champ. Rough race for him, finishing 21st here. Brayton Laster 22nd, and Corey Vervinkt rounding out your field in 23rd.
We turn our attention now to the winner of race number 2, Michael P. Frisch. And Michael, that was a different finishing scenario compared to what we normally see at Daytona because we had so much lap traffic as part of the mix. So how did you approach that mentally, and did that change the way significantly how you raced in the final handful of laps to get the win?
Most definitely. When David came into play there, it really changed the game because he had fresh tires, and I noticed our top lane that I originally pitted with, we were getting tight up there. So I said, let me go ahead and try the bottom. And the tires felt really good down there. And I just tried to follow David and weave through with the lap traffic and all that. And it got hairy a couple times. I thought we were going to wreck. But no, we just bobbed and weaved. And then Shieldhouse, I pushed it 3 wide and he moved low. And that pretty much set it up there at the end. I knew I had to block that one last push from Vargas there, or it was going to be a close finish. So
you knew it was going to be tight. You managed to hang on here. In terms of the championship fight, and when we consider who's been in the mix the past few years, when it's been you and it's been Breyer and it's been David, to get a victory at a plate track of all places, how big is that? And does that carry a little bit more value to you when you consider the nature of racing here and how it's not always guaranteed that the fastest drivers end up front?
Yeah, it plays a big factor. A lot of people don't know a lot of races, but we've raced with a lot of each other when it comes to leagues. So we kind of know our moves when it comes to super spooey racing. So we kind of have to switch up our own book sometimes because our competition knows what they're going for. But no, it's a different ball game when you race around people that you're so friendly around and you kind of want to push them, but at the end of the day, you got to go for that win.
To indeed have to go to that win. And then some rocky place coming up next week, Rockingham on the docket. What are you most looking forward to about heading to the Sandhills of North Carolina?
The Sean M. Butler experience. I'm sure he's going to be leading the train up there at Rockingham. He is very, very fast at that track, so I won't be surprised if if he sweeps it, honestly. He's my pick for next week, so.
He's your pick?
He's my pick.
That's your pick. That's your pick.
I've raced that man in 87s on that track, and he has the magic touch to that track, all right?
He was indeed strong in the Rockingham 508, so I will most definitely tip your cap there. That's not the worst pick in the world. But you're the pick tonight. Cody Hicken 250 show. Michael, congratulations on your victory this evening, and we will see you 1 week from tonight at Rockingham.
Thank you, everybody up in the booth, and just want to thank Bar Visuals and North Force Racing and Core for giving this league an awesome opportunity on Monday nights. I mean, we produced some really fantastic racing tonight, so get ready for next week.
It is all Michael P. Frisch at the front tonight, but we've got one more driver to chat with. Blake McCandless will join us here in just a few moments, and Blake is now alongside our own Caleb Hoffman.
Blake McCandless, a familiar face here. Again, just short here. Talk us through that basically back half of the race where it was just a 4-car race between you, Vargas, Frisch, and Tiller.
Yeah. Well, we decided to go with the pit strategy to short pit. We've done it in a lot of core races in the past, and it's almost always worked. And, it worked again this time. We unfortunately lost Sean in our group because he sped on pit road, but we were able to pick him back up and kind of had 4 cars there digging and, looking at the lap times once we kind of formed up, we knew we were making up time on the rest of the pack, so we knew we were in good shape. We just needed it to go green, and exactly what we got. I kind of hate there at the end. We were kind of handicapped a little bit. We had some lap cars that were kind of racing up there, and kind of took up some lanes and was hard to kind of predict on where they were going to go or if they were going to pull over because they were 2 or 3 laps down and completely out of it. But nevertheless, stuck with Ryan, tried to make the high line work as long as I could. And, we just ended up in a spot where we couldn't really get clear. There's probably an opportunity with 2 or 3 to go that I had a chance to get to the outside or make a move on him, and I decided to stick with him. But, hey, we were talking in the first race. We could get 2 top 5s. We'd be pretty happy. So I imagine second and a third. That's about as good as it could get. So pretty happy with it. If we're not, we got to be leading the points unless Frisch find a way to pass us with some bonus points for winning. But it's about as good as tonight could have gone, to be honest. Fun, season opener. And again, shout out to everybody out here to have a race where we basically went green, the last 35 some odd laps or so. So it's a really fun group to race with. So shout out to Ben, DT, and of course all you guys for putting on the broadcast. Fun deal to be a part of.
Absolutely, but that's Blake McCandless, 2 podium finishes in a row for the Underdog Fantasy Machine. Thank you for your time, Blake.
Thank you, Caleb. Make sure you use promo code Mr. F4Speed to get your first deposit up to $100 match on Underdog Fantasy Sports.
And
that's
so,
Blake McCandless.
Yep, we come to the close of Core Night 1 in the summer on Monday nights. And Caleb, it's been a long time since I've come back to the sim on a Monday night, been this excited about the racing, and it truly did not disappoint. Incredible stuff top to bottom, but it's a very different track we head to next week. Rockingham is as much of a driver's test as you're going to find in the sim, and one of my favorites too. So it'll be different racing next week, but I'm equally as excited.
Absolutely, and we have a fun schedule up ahead of us. Can't wait to get into it. Rockingham, 1 week from tonight, 2 60-lap races, and it's going to be just as much of a banger as tonight's 2 races were. Can't wait to get into it, and thank you everybody for coming out, and thank you Pike for just a great night.
Plenty of action coming up on FTF.GG as well. Friday night, it's FTF1 at the Circuit de la Sarthe. Sunday night, FTF Bar. And then Monday, we're back at it with Core. A big thanks to all the partners that have made tonight happen for the Core Summer Series presented by Sim Rat Market. Cody Hickens, Soundhead Entertainment, Alpha Prime Racing, Leargus Security, MAT Liveries, Gabe Wood paid for this, Brayton Laster, Eric Messer Photography, Splash and Go Graphics, and of course our friends at simratmarket.com, who are the proud presenting partner of this, the Core Summer Series presented by Sim Rat Market. For our producer, Zach Johnson, for Davin Cornelius and Ben Easterday at the Core League, and for our pre-race host, Jacob Hitz, and my colleague in the booth tonight, Caleb Hoffman, I'm James Pike. Thank you for watching FTF.GG's coverage of the Core Summer Series presented by Sim Rat Market from Daytona, and congratulations to our 2 winners this evening, Dylan Kim and Michael P. Frisch. We'll see you in 1 week's time from The Rock.